Man, this dinner's been dragging on a while. I thought we were supposed to be going to the gig. I look around at my present company and notice that they're all pretty well enjoying themselves and they're not moving anytime soon, they're just staying put. I think if I'm going to see any of this music, I'm just going to have to go see it by myself. So I say my goodbyes and catch a grab out to this other part of town. Trying to find the venue, I wandered around for a little bit. Heard the sound of a booming drum kit from a third floor somewhere. Looking around, I couldn't really find the entrance until one of the mock shop workers noticed me looking kind of all lost and confused, grabbed me and pointed me towards a stairwell. It doesn't have a sign or a street number or anything, you sort of just have to know it's there. So up 3 flights of stairs and an unmanned door is Rumah Api. There's graffiti covering the walls and a big banner saying no speed limits with a moshing skeleton on it. And there's a Palestinian flag draped over one of the guitar amps. Stickers, tags and political slogans coat every surface you see, and people are openly smoking and drinking BYO to booze. KL death metal band Lumat is in the final third of their set. It feels just plain wrong to be watching metal without a beer in my hand, so I left to find a bottle shop. When I got back, this band from Malacca called Disrotten were gearing up to start. Yeah, Dissrotten was sick, especially the drummer. Sorry, that's not much of a review. It's a death metal band, and it's a really good death metal band with some pretty top shelf musicianship. It is what it says on the tin. A bunch of people in the crowd got really excited and took off their shirts and started waving them around. Big shout outs to the guy with the berserk tattoo. Alright, back to Rumah Api for another gig. Tonight's show is called Last Riff for a Friend. It's a hardcore send-off for the recently departed Arwah Wan B Side. This guy was a mainstay of KL's hardcore community. He was a label head and band leader and an all-round good egg, just in general. His brutal wake features 7 bands and it's also a fundraiser for his family. We rocked up fashionably late, missing a few bands, but Thy Regiment are just getting into it, and they sound sick. This is the first time Pam's ever been to a gig like this, so I'm kind of excited to see how she handles it.
how bloody good were thy Regiment? They were absolutely sick. These guys were my favourite band for the night, easily. They're firmly grounded in hardcore and metal, but they're bringing some more musically interesting elements to the table and more groovy things going on. So yeah, really enjoyed it. Alright, next up is insert band name. So these guys are a far more traditional sounding hardcore band, and yeah, pretty bloody good. Not really much else to say other than that. Yeah, really good. Let's talk about some folks in the pit for a second. First we have the Extreme Hippie and the Kuala Lumpur hooded fuckwit. The Extreme Hippie was this skinny barefooted man with long hair who looked sort of like a hippie from the 60s. His style of hardcore moves was this elegant blend of practiced martial arts and slam dancing, and he seemed mindful of his surroundings, taking extra care not to kick or hurt anyone. Yeah, good stuff. Everyone who got their crowd kill on that night seemed spatially aware and respectful of people's boundaries, but not the hooded fuckwit. Wearing a long-sleeve hoodie in equatorial heat and a black surgical mask, the hooded fuckwit seemed to thrive off windmill-kicking people at the edge of the pit who were just trying to stay out of it. Music stops, the hook goes down, and he sits shyly looking at his phone. Music starts, the hooded mask go up, and the demon comes out. I got this odd impression that this guy was playing a character of some kind. He probably wouldn't have called it the hooded fuckwit, but here we are. You could see people keeping an eye on him out of concern for their own safety. Look, we all want to let each other enjoy the music in our own ways and be free and let loose, and so no one said anything. Mosh pits can be violent places for sure, but even in hardcore there's some lines, and he was starting to cross them, and people were starting to get fed up. It started with the odd dirty look, and graduated to the occasional shove. The guy next to me was a tourist from the Canary Islands, and he'd been getting increasingly pissed off with the guy as the night wore on. And same thing with the Extreme Hippie. He'd had enough as well. So the hippie went up to him and kicked him so hard that he went flying and ended up on the ground. And then a minute later, the guy from the Canary Islands rammed into him so hard that he went flying back into the merch table. And that's as ugly as it needed to get. One of them helped him up and shook his hand, and everything was cool. I think the message was received. He was just a kid at the end of the day. He didn't really know any better. I feel like in Australia it would have gotten a little bit uglier.
That was entertaining. Moving on to Naratu.
Yeah, how dope was that? Naratu are another top quality hardcore band. And not really much else to say other than that I just had a really good time watching them and it was really fun. Conside is the final band for the night. This is Arwah Wan B Side's band. And yeah, rest in peace, Arwah Wan.
This is Conside!
what an absolutely sick night at Killer Bands. Had a great time. KL's hardcore scene seems very well organised and extremely enthusiastic, and everyone was friendly and welcoming. Big shout outs to Social Sonic Surveillance Records and this guy right here. Rest in peace, Mr. B Side. The afterlife just got a lot heavier. I caught a grab to Soundmaker Studios, and I was greeted by an empty stairwell, a nondescript apartment building, and this stray cat, who followed me onto the lift and up to the right floor. I knocked on what I thought was the right door, but this can't be it, there's no one around. A man with caution tape all over his apartment told me that they've moved and he didn't know where. So me and the cat headed back downstairs.
Do you know where Soundmaker Studio is?
After a little bit of phone time, I found the right address and booked a grab to the right place. Apparently they've moved 5 times within the last 2 years. When I got there, this band was setting up. So these guys are a pretty standard sounding Asian pop rock band with a slightly heavier twist. Not to dismiss them completely, they're actually really good. They had turntables as well, which saw a little bit of use. I was kind of disappointed that they didn't use them throughout the whole set, but yeah, whatever. It was all pretty good. Oh, Dirty Fingers from China. Not gonna touch that name. Yeah, nah. Not sure how to describe these guys. Jazz punk, maybe? I don't know. Wherever you place them, they're heaps good. Their songs have lots of tempo changes and oompa oompa type rhythms. The drummer is an absolute god warrior. Lots of swing and lots of triplets. Lots of violent shifts in tempo and mood. There's also this sort of Talking Heads vibe going on sometimes. The bass player looked really relaxed, chain smoking his way through the entire set. This was the final show of their Southeast Asian tour, and they were tighter than a duck, but also weirdly relaxed. It is a rare privilege to be able to see a Chinese indie band, so I'm stoked about that. These guys were sick. So Larude are just a straight up, no BS, no frills hardcore band. But they had like a bit of extra special sauce. I don't know, something indescribable. For starters, they were mixed perfectly, so it sounded exactly as it should, which is rare for a room like this. And the musicianship was also top notch. Maybe that was it. Like everyone was locked into each other's grooves like really well. But whatever you have to say, like these guys aren't pushing any genre boundaries. They're just kind of being a perfect hardcore band. The crowd was pretty much all their mates, and they all just seemed really, really happy to be there. A shit-eating grin from ear to ear was just the default expression on a person's face. At one point, the drummer from Oh Dirty Fingers did this gnarly worm dance on the floor when everyone was trying to hardcore dance. That shit was funny as.
Hey, yo, motherfucker! I wanna see a cycle, motherfucking joy! Get in the hardcore, motherfucking joy! Hey, fuck, motherfucker, I wanna see a dance!
Sometime towards the end of the set, the spectacle shifted away from the band and to the audience, as a few select people were just getting really, really carried away and having a bunch of fun with their hardcore dancing, and it became as entertaining to watch them as it did to watch the band. And the band was sort of feeding off this energy, so it created this really cool feedback loop, where the band was feeding off the audience and the audience was feeding off the band, continuously hyping each other up into new heights. This is the sort of thing that turns like a good show into the sort of show you remember when you're old and grey. Sort of like me, actually. actually, come to think about it. So this guy here took his shirt off and got really caught up in the moment and just became this living, breathing extension of the music and just pretty much ignoring boundaries of physical fitness and just going for it, eh? And sort of every cell in his body is this sort of willing servant of the beat. Just complete reckless abandonment. Yeah, it's good. That's like a really good thing to see. Good on you, mate. That's what this shit is for. This is the favourite show of the whole trip, I reckon. Yeah, good vibes all around in the room. Everyone there was really friendly and easy to talk to. The old Dirty Fingers cats were also legends too. I got the sense that everyone was just stoked to be here, which is really what you want from a gig. If you live in a bigger city like Melbourne or Tokyo or something like that that has a thriving arts community, you sort of lose sight that this is a privilege to be in a room watching a hardcore band, and not everyone has this privilege. So yeah, and you could definitely feel it that this is more of a rare treat for these guys, and they do appreciate it in a different way because of that. I got the sense that the usual scenesters and hipsters and cool kids and just utter outright pricks that attach themselves to music scenes and communities sort of globally just weren't really present here in this room or at gigs in Malaysia in general. This was my favourite gig of the trip. And yeah, go see some hardcore when you're in Malaysia. They do it really well.
Unfortunately, I only caught 3 gigs the entire time I was in Malaysia. Unlike Melbourne, which is where I'm from, and parts of Japan, which is where I've been, it's not something you can consistently do night after night. It's mostly confined to the weekends, and sometimes it just doesn't even happen. At least as far as I could tell, I wasn't entirely in the know. It was monsoon season while I was there, which I didn't know, and a lot of things were closed and not happening, so that could have something to do with it as well. So maybe, leave out November if you're going. So I prepared an ignorant guide to a bunch of music stuff in Malaysia over a few cities, and hopefully this will be useful to you. Okay, let's start with Kuala Lumpur. In KL, you have several venues. You have Rumah Api, which is the one I went to. This specialises in heavier music. It's pretty consistent with its weekend gigs. Friday, Saturday nights are good. Sometimes they have Thursday shows, but it's mostly just weekends. We got another one called Petia Belalang, which is another good one. Sadly, they were in the middle of moving when I was there, so I couldn't go. And Live Fact, there's another one, and Moutou is also pretty consistent. If you're interested in doing some record shopping while you're in KL, go to Amcorp Mall. That's an entire mall full of collectible shops and antique stores, and it's got a lot of record stores there too. And make sure you check out Small Records while you're there. That shit's really cool. And big shout outs to the guy that works there. Forgot your name, buddy, but yeah, shout outs to you. The CDs you recommended were great. Amcorp does this huge flea market thing on Saturdays, so that's worth checking out. Also, be wary of opening hours for a lot of the shops there. I'd say leave it till 2 p.m. That's my recommendation. Moving on to Ipoh, you have a few venues. There's one called Dream Project that doubles as a record store, but I'm pretty sure it's only open when there's a gig on, so just try and be in the know before catching a grab out there to check it out. There's another venue called Ladyboss Studios. Links in the description, yada yada yada. In Georgetown, you have Ruas Store. That's a record store and a gig space. Not sure about the opening hours on that place. When I went out there, they were shut both times. And apparently they were in Bangkok that weekend. So better luck to you when you check it out. And you also have Soundmaker Studio, which we've already talked about. That's amazing. Just make sure the address is right before trying to go there. So anyway, Malaysia, there you have it. Amazing music. They definitely do heavy music and hardcore really well. And just to dust this off, I've prepared a list of bands you should check out from Malaysia that I think are really dope. Man Dead Set. Disappointed I didn't get to see these guys. They're a hardcore band, sort of in the same realm as the other bands that I saw, but ported through more of a skate punk / crust sort of lens. I know it's all genre salad, doesn't actually mean anything. At the end of the day, it's all just fun music. Cerikapak. Some sound labby electronic music here, chilled out but full of ear candy and glitchiness. IDM is what some of the kids call it these days. The dude from Small Records recommended this, and yeah, I love this. I still listen to this album a lot. Vociferation Eternity. Some pretty good metal from Ipoh. If you like it brutal, this one's for you. Butterfingers. Not to be confused with Australian Butterfingers. This is some top shelf poppy rock music. None of this fancy metal or hardcore here, this is just sweet melodies and killer choruses. Old mate from Small Records recommended this album. He said it's his favourite album of all time, and yeah, it's really good. Slowburn. This is sort of a jazz band. Some elements of psych rock and jazz and electronic stuff. Yeah, pretty good. Alright, well there you have it. A very vertical slice of what Malaysia has to offer music-wise. It was all really cool, but sadly I didn't get to see as much as I would have liked, but I had a great time, and Malaysia is a really, really cool place. Okay, that ends part 1. Part 2, we're going to Thailand, baby.